Let's go. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Baby said she wanna go to the game. Taught her how to say Padres gang. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Mitchell and Ness with the old school name. All of the homies holler Padres gang. Yeah, that.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to tonight's pregame show, Padres and the Giants. First pitch later tonight, 6:45 p.m. Pacific time. Padres and the Giants. It's the series opener. Starting off in San Francisco tonight, Nick Martinez on the mound for the Padres, going up against Alex Wood. Again, first of three, and this is the Padres' last series of their two-team road trip before they head back home to face the Atlanta Braves for their home opener. So again, welcome on in. It's the pregame show. Ben Fadden, your host. Padres are 3-1. They just took 3 out of 4 from the Arizona Diamondbacks and then they play the Giants, who are 2-1. They won their first series of the year against the Miami Marlins, and the Giants played at home. So this will be their second straight home series to start off their season. Again, the Padres, this is a series that obviously isn't going to be as easy, as the Diamondback series was. It seems in terms of competition, who's the better team, comparing the Giants and the Diamondbacks, obviously the Giants are the better team. So it's going to be tougher. The Padres, get Logan Webb later in the series, Alex Wood tonight, Alex Cobb tomorrow. So definitely guys that can get the job done. But the Padres also have 3 guys that can get the job done, starting tonight with Nick Martinez and then Darvish and Manaea to finish the road trip out before Joe Musgrove starts the home opener at Petco Park, which should be very, very fun. That April 14th game, that'll be really fun to watch. So tonight, as for tonight, though, April 11th, 2022, you can watch it on Bally Sports San Diego with Don and Mud. Listen to it on 97.3 The Fan with Jesse and Tony. 9:45 Eastern Time, 6:45 p.m. Pacific Time, first pitch. The Giants are in second place going into this game in the National League West, a half game back. The Padres, we are in first place. No games back, obviously. So as for the pitching matchup, before we get to some Blake Snell news, Nick Martinez, this is obviously his first start of the season. He pitched well in spring training, gave up 1 run against the Dodgers in his first spring training start. Looked pretty good in his second start as well. He faces another National League West rival in the series opener. And the good news is he's built up, right? And that's part of the reason why Bob Melvin, Ruben Niebla, and the Padres coaching staff staggered the rotation the way that they staggered it, is so that they have 3 guys that are built up, and Darvish, Musgrove, and Martinez pitching 1, 3, and 5 in the rotation, and the second and the fourth starters don't have to be as built up. This was their plan in spring training to start a spring training. They got Manaea to fill that second spot, which obviously helps, and he's built up, as we saw with 7 no-hit innings in his first time out. So that helps. But for that fourth starter, between the fourth starter, they wanted the third and fifth starters to be built up, and that's what they get here. Nick Martinez is pretty built up. You have Chris Matt go yesterday. You have Guerra go yesterday. Adams, Stammen. So a lot of the long guys, you had them go yesterday. So it helps to have someone who's built up, go today. And then as for Alex Wood, a 3.83 earned run average in 2021. So last season, he's a lefty. So this seems like another Kim game. And, looking at the lineup, it is. Hassan Kim is hitting 9th. So C.J. Abrams will start today on the bench. Wood has that 3-quarter delivery. I believe he has a slider, which is a good pitch for him to go to. Former Dodger, and he was a big. This has nothing to do with the game, but he was a big player influencer, whatever you want to call it, in the Player Association, I think, bargaining sessions. At least on Twitter, that's he really liked to voice his opinion there on Twitter. But that's the pitching matchup. And then I did want to get to Snell. So that was a little bit of news that Kevin Acee just came out with earlier today. He said that Blake Snell did some running on the field today, but he did not throw. He did not play catch because he never throws the day after scheduled starts. He plans to play catch tomorrow, so on Tuesday, and then have a bullpen session on Wednesday, which is what he usually does, with his next scheduled start to be Friday. So if he doesn't feel good, throwing tomorrow or the bullpen session Wednesday, then that's where the conversation comes with, do you have Mackenzie Gore come up, who's also a lefty, come in and replace Snell on that Friday start instead of having to go, Chris Matt or Reese Kinnear. Do you bring Gore up? And I wrote a piece on gaslantball.com today that you can look at after this pregame show that kind of just one question for the Padres front office that they'll have to answer if Snell does go on the injured list. And for me, that question is, do you want to bring Gore up and then send him back down when Snell is back? Let's say he only is on the IL for a couple starts, right? I think it would only be one start since it could be retroactive. So let's say it's one start, Snell comes back. Are the Padres willing to say, okay, Mackenzie, yeah, you got your debut, we're going to send you right back down? Does that mess with his confidence? Ruben Niebla, obviously, their relationship seems like it's worked well so far. Do they want to take Ruben Niebla away from Gore and have Gore go right back to the minor leagues? Now, you could make the argument as well that, hey, Gore pitched really well, 5 scoreless innings in his first spring training start. But at the same time, maybe if, Ruben Niebla, is with Gore at some period of time during the season, whether that's Friday, does Niebla want to just send him right back down? And he's the number one prospect. This is someone that probably has in mind when he gets called up, he's going to be on the team like CJ Abrams. He's going to be there. He's going to be there the rest of his career. That's what he probably envisions, right? Or at least the rest of his Padres tenure on the major league team. Not going to be sent up and down like Chris Matt was last year, or be like Reese Kinnear, right? Kinnear, he kind of knows his role. He knows that, I'm limited in terms of me being a dominant starter. I'm just not going to be that. That's not my role. I am going to go up and down. I'll be ready here in El Paso. And if the team needs me, I'll be a spot starter. I think he knows that that's what his role is. Where with Gore, he's the number one pitching prospect in the Padres organization. And if he continues pitching like this, he'll be a top 3-5 pitching prospect in all of baseball, with the new rankings that probably will come out, after Gore has changed things and he's looked a lot better. Because I think last big prospect MLB rankings I saw, he was all the way down at like 80th before spring training started. And so he's going to rise on that. But getting back to the question is, if Snell does go on the IL and doesn't pitch Friday, are the Padres willing to send Gore back down? Or will they only look at Friday's game as, okay, we're trying to win Friday's game. Who gives us the better chance, Chris Matt or Gore? But Chris Matt pitched really well, so I shouldn't just say Chris Matt or Gore. I should probably say a bullpen day or Gore, and then just a regular day. Because Gore seems like he's pretty built up. He's at 5 innings, probably would go 6 his next start if he continues pitching well. So that's the big question. But back to today's game. Again, Padres-Giants later tonight, 6:45 p.m. Pacific time. First pitch, Bally Sports San Diego, 97.3 The Fan. Padres are in first place, taking 3 out of 4 against the Diamondbacks. I went all over that series in episode 147 that came out earlier today. I went live like a little after 11 o'clock, I think, on the West Coast time. It was well after 2 a.m. here on the East Coast. So episode 147, if you want to get a little bit of that Padre Diamondback fix for you before tuning into this Padres-Giants series. Let's talk about the bullpen, shall we? Bullpen usage chart for today. Yesterday, obviously, was a bullpen day. So there's going to be a lot of guys that aren't available. Austin Adams probably isn't there. This was obviously April 10th. So yesterday they had 5 guys go. Adams, 24 pitches. Chris Matt, 53 pitches, so he's definitely done for today. Same with Javi Guerra, 55 pitches. Stammen went 12 maybe today. Suarez went 30, so he's done for today. He did give up a run. I think he gave up a home run, but at least, they got him back out there. But at least the good news is, obviously, they were able to win yesterday, so it was worth, burning 5 guys there in that bullpen day, obviously after Snell's unexpected injury on his, last warm-up pitch. The good news is that they do have their good relievers available. Suarez obviously isn't, but he hasn't, really proven himself at the big league level yet. But they have Pierce Johnson. They have Dinelson Lamet probably available for today because Johnson would have a day off. If he pitched today, had a day off yesterday. Lamet would have 2 days off. They have Steven Wilson, Tim Hill, and then Taylor Rogers, obviously, their closer, will definitely be available after going single digits on April 8th, only 10 pitches a couple days ago, didn't pitch yesterday because they won by 5 runs, and then today he should be available. So pretty much their 5 big relievers should be available right now. Austin Adams, you could count maybe over Steven Wilson, but Steven Wilson looked good in his first Padre appearance on, Saturday, when he pitched 16 pitches, didn't give up a run, so good on him there. So, yeah, the bullpen should be in pretty good shape after Nick Martinez goes tonight. Hopefully Nick Martinez provides some pretty good innings in terms of length tonight. After the bullpen, let's go over now the lineups for tonight. So for the Giants, you got Mike Yastrzemski leading off, playing right field. You got Brandon Belt at first, Darren Ruff DHing, Jock Peterson as their 4-hitter in left, Brandon Crawford shortstop, Thairo Estrada at second, the former Yankee, Joey Bart catching, Steven Duggar in center, then Mauricio Dubon, the former Brewer prospect, at third base. So their lineup, it's not as talented as last year. You're taking a 3.5 WAR player in Buster Posey out of the lineup. It's just not going to be as talented. You have Evan Longoria, their starting third baseman, is on the IL already, dealing with, I think, a finger issue that happened in spring training. So he's on the shelf to start this season. And to have Jock Peterson as their 4-hitter probably stands out. He's a platoon guy. Brandon Crawford is their 5-hitter. Gotten off to some slow starts, at least their offense so far. And then over at the Padres, Bob Melvin, my main takeaway here, obviously, you got Kim continuing to hit against lefties, as he's a righty, obviously. Then you got Austin Nola. Bob Melvin likes having Austin Nola at the top of the lineup against lefties, it seems like. You got Grisham leading off. Nola hitting 400 so far. He's 3 RBIs on the year. Batting second, playing catcher. Manny hitting third, playing third. Jake at second, batting cleanup. You got Voit, the DH, batting fifth. Will Myers batting sixth in right. Batting seventh, you got Haas at first. He's hitting 500 so far this year. Had an off day yesterday, so he should be good to go. Profar playing left field, batting eighth. He's hitting 400, 6 RBIs this season already. He's already at half the amount of home runs that he had in 2021. He has 2, had 2 the first series of the season. Obviously, he had the grand slam yesterday, the first half of that back-to-back home run stretch with Jorge Alfaro. Then you got Ha-Seong Kim batting ninth at short, which I like. But, they're not going as much right-left tonight. You got 2 righties in a row with Nola and Manny, 2-3 there. And then you got 2 righties in a row with Voit and Myers. And then if a righty comes into the game later, you got 2 lefties in Hosmer and Profar. So that's the lineup for tonight. I kind of like this lineup. If Nola obviously continues playing well, I'm in favor of it. And, if everyone wants to say that I'm a Hosmer hater, or there's some people that say, I saw one comment that Padres fans like me, are disloyal if you're praising Hosmer after hating on him. You want to jump on the other side now. But I made that whole argument we're actually more loyal if we're praising him, because we're loyal to the team's success, not just Eric Hosmer's success. So to boost that point, Hosmer's hitting well. I would split up Voit and Myers, the righties, and put Hosmer hitting sixth and slide down Myers, because Myers seems a little lost at the plate right now. Maybe even have Profar 7th and Myers 8th. But I do understand to start the game. Well, no, to start the game they have back-to-back righties here. So personally, I'd have just Profar and Myers here Myers move down, Profar move up, have Hosmer hit 6th to split up the righties with Voit and Profar against a lefty, at least to start the game. But overall, in terms of the players in there, I mean, I'd like CJ over Myers, but I know that he's probably not comfortable yet in the outfield, so I don't think that's that big of a deal. But what are your thoughts on the lineup? Give me your thoughts on the lineup. And meanwhile you do that, again, use that voicemail function that I just implemented, 619-335-5770, to leave a voicemail expressing any Padres thoughts you have, whether it's after a game, a Padres loss, and you're pissed off, after a Padres win and you're excited, you're happy about something. CJ Abrams has a big game, later in the series or something. Give me your thoughts. No hitter happens, maybe. Give me your thoughts then. Or if you're just passionate about maybe the Blake Snell news or any Padres news that happens, you want Mackenzie Gore to start on Friday, give me your thoughts in the voicemail, 619-335-5770, to give me your thoughts, and I'll feature those on the next episode that I do. I love hearing your guys' reactions, your actual emotional reactions, because it's one thing I love to chat here, and we'll get to some of your comments here about this pregame show, about the pregame, about this game tonight. But it's one thing for the comments, but I like actually hearing the emotion from Padre fans. You can't really hear that emotion just in the chat. Getting back to this Mackenzie Gore situation, Gil says, I'd bring Gore up for however long Snell is out, have Gore log in innings. Sending him back down won't mess with him because I'm sure he knows he's going to get called up permanently later in the year. I kind of disagree with that. Like, if all things go well, I feel like, Gore could be called up, in the bullpen or something. But if all things go well, if guys stay healthy, the rotation's probably going to be Darvish, Manaea, Musgrove, Snell, and Martinez, or Clevenger when Clevenger comes back, and Martinez will be a long guy. So I don't know if Gore will permanently be called up later this season. I think they're not going to bring back every starting pitcher who's a free agent after this year. They have Musgrove. I would think he'd come back. But they have Manaea, who's a free agent. And if he pitches well, continues to pitch well, he'll have a big market. They have Clevenger, who's a free agent after this year. So I don't think they're going to bring back everyone. So I think Gore, you'll see his permanent, big impact in 2023. That's my gut reaction just looking at it right now, and maybe at an optimistic viewpoint in terms of the rotation staying healthy. So I think it's a good point that, or at least I see what you're saying, Gil. You think he's going to get called up permanently later in the year, and maybe he'll deserve it if he continues pitching well. But in terms of him starting, and I think that's what they should do if he does get called up, permanently. I don't know. If people stay healthy, I don't think he would be permanently called up to start, at least right now. Quan says, let's get 2 out of 3. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah. You start the season, 5-2? Yeah, going into the Braves series with Musgrove on the mound. That'll get me fired up, yeah. Gil says, Robert Suarez, Steven Wilson, Kevin Kopps are going to be big this season. I have full confidence in Suarez despite his early hiccups. I don't have full confidence in him, but I do have confidence in him that he will bounce back. I don't think that they're gonna put him in these high leverage spots, to start this year because of how he's done so far, in games that have counted. But I still have confidence in him. It's early in the season. Steven Wilson, I think he will have an impact. Yeah, he's pitched well. It's one game where you can't really judge it fully. And then Kevin Kopps, we've had him on the show, so you can go watch or listen to that episode whenever you want to. I had talk to him before spring training during the lockout and had him on talk about the minor league living conditions, some A.J. Preller scouting stories when Preller was scouting him in college in the SEC at Arkansas. Talked about his minor league career so far, what his goal is this season. And he said his goal is to make a significant impact on the Padres in 2022. So what I saw in spring training, what I've seen so far, yeah, I think Cops will get called up and have some sort of impact. Injuries do happen too, so that's another aspect. Gil says, you don't think Gore will be on the team in September? I definitely do. I'm not necessarily saying that. If they want, I mean, just based on past experiences in terms of watching the Padres, right? Last year we had all those injuries. So if that happens again, yeah, Gore's a slam dunk to be on the team in September. And even if injuries don't happen, I think Gore could be on the team, for the playoff chase, and maybe he's out of the bullpen then or something because they just want to win. But in terms of his long-term development, and that long-term development happens during the full span of the regular season, not just a 1-month stretch in September or October, I don't think that they're going to just bring him up and have him be in the bullpen. Because if guys are healthy, Gore is not one of those top 5 starters in terms of the way that the rotation's aligned right now. It's just not. It's Darvish, Manaea, Musgrove, Snell, Clevenger, probably the 5 starter when he's healthy. Then you got Martinez behind Clevenger or Snell as a long guy, right? You have Chris Matt who can still do that. You have Stammen. You have multiple guys that can fill that role. If they want Gore, they want to prioritize Gore being a starter and building up starters innings in the minor leagues. So that's just my viewpoint on it. That's all. That's just my viewpoint. What's up, Ramon? Hog, what's up, my man? We're scheduled to have Hog on Wednesday on the show, so I'm excited for that. Look, I love Padres fans. That's why I set up the voicemail line again, 619-335-5770. Drop a voicemail to leave your thoughts, any Padres thoughts you have on anything that happens, whether it's a game, whether that's an event that happens, a report that comes out. Give me your thoughts, and I'll play them on the next episode. I love that voice-to-voice interaction, that Padre fan interaction. I look forward to having Hog on. Had John and Jim on earlier last week to preview the Padres season, and I'm trying to get on some big-time guests as well, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully we can make that happen. Let's go to Zertry619 here. Do you know if we have Snell beyond this year? We do. He is not a free agent until after 2023. He says, if he's a free agent, should they use him as trade bait and use Gore if he produces? He's not a free agent, so that kind of scenario is probably out the window. And even if he was going to be a free agent, I think they're trying to win this year. And if Snell's healthy and pitching well, he's one of the best starters in baseball. So I don't think that would be smart of them to just use him as trade bait unless they're out of it, right? You're trying to win. And if Snell walks after next year, well, guess what? They have Gore that can come up. But I'd be all in and try to use Snell and really try to help, this team win. Let's see. Gil says, seems like the front office wants to implement a 6-man, but Melvin doesn't want to go that way. I don't know if the front office wants to do it. I think that's not really a great idea to implement a 6-man because guess what that means? Darvish, Manaea, the 2 guys that didn't give up a hit their first time, 2 times through, those 2 guys would pitch less during the season if there's a 6-man rotation. Musgrove would pitch less. Snell, when he's healthy, would pitch less. I don't think they want that. And are you really – and I'm guessing you say the 6-man rotation, you'd have Gore be the 6-man or something like that? Okay, I can make the argument then. I could ask you back. Would the Padres be getting as much as they wanted to out of Gore if they're only pitching him every 6th day instead of every 5th day? Because he's also getting less starts. So I don't think that would be very smart to do that, to be honest. Hog says that Manaea trade was so big in hindsight. My goodness. Yeah, definitely with the Clevenger injury, Snell, it seems like he's going to throw tomorrow, throw a bullpen on Wednesday. before his scheduled start Friday. So I don't really know if Gore is going to come into play. But yeah, Manaea, just in terms of his talent, right? He's an upgrade over having Martinez as the fifth starter when Clevenger comes back. So yeah, definitely the Manaea, and it doesn't seem like they gave up a lot. They gave up a lot, so that's definitely good as well. But yeah, that Manaea trades. Look, it goes into the whole, thing about AJ Preller's offseason being better than what we were thinking about, right? I had John Schaefer on, and he said before the season that he probably graded a C-, but that was before they got Sean Manaea. That was before they got Taylor Rogers. So 2 all-star caliber guys, that was before that happened. And Jorge Alfaro is off great. Profar, he's stuck with him as the left fielder to start out, and he's at least played well. Look, I'm not going to overreact to that, but he's played well. So right now, his offseason does look better. The Robert Suarez thing isn't working out to start, but again, it's early in the year. Luis Garcia seems to be coming back. I think he's in Lake Elsinore right now rehabbing, so that's good news. But Preller's offseason is definitely headlined by that Manaea trade. At least right now, with Taylor Rogers on opening day, definitely does look a lot better. And then add in Luke Voigt as well. He's getting on base. I heard some old guy calling the Quintero show earlier today, and he's talking about, being mad at Voigt and complaining about Voigt after 4 games because he's not hitting home runs or whatever, and he's walking too much. Come on, what are we doing here? Okay, the ball's out of the strike zone. You walk. Don't swing the bat. He's doing his job. He's getting on base. If the pitch isn't there, you don't swing. It's something you learn in Little League. So that was a stupid argument. But no, Voigt looks good right now. Ramon says, if the Padres can take 2 of 3 from the Giants, it's time to press the hype button. Yes and no. I think it would be encouraging, but the Padres are not going to be facing Carlos Rodon in this series, and he's the Giants' ace, right? They don't have Tatis back, obviously, so winning that would be good. But I think if they beat the Braves in this 4-game set coming up at Petco, that's when I'd be more willing to press the hype button, because I think the Braves are the second best team in the National League behind the Dodgers. And if they really contend with the Dodgers without Tatis, and if some other guys are hurt, then I'd be more willing to press the hype button. But I understand if you're looking at the viewpoint, hey, look, we're started off 3-1. We take 2 out of 3. We'll be 5-2 going into this Braves series at home with Musgrove on the mound in a packed Petco Park. That's great. You're taking it from the viewpoint that, hey, the Giants are better than the Diamondbacks and we're able to beat both of them. I understand that, but I wouldn't press the all caps hype button until they, really contend with the Dodgers or they beat the Braves in a series, something like that. Gil says, how can the 6-man rotation, 6-man rotation isn't smart? I completely disagree. I think it would be incredibly beneficial, he's saying, to have the 6-man rotation. It's just teams and pitchers are new to it. We'll take adjustment. Well, here's the problem. I just said that. The 6-man rotation, I said my viewpoint on it. The 6-man rotation, I get why you're saying it might be beneficial because you can have Gore up. If that's your viewpoint, you want Gore up. Okay, I could see that. But Darvish and Manaea, if they're going to pitch this well, I want them starting every 5th day. Same with Musgrove. What's the point of having a 6-man rotation? Save that McKenzie. I hate to say this, but if those guys are pitching well, so those 4 or 5 starters, the majority of them are pitching well, why go to a 6-man rotation? Why waste Mackenzie Gore's service time when you can have Darvish, Manaea, Musgrove pitch more games in the season? So I don't really agree with that. But hey, I guess agree to disagree. Yeah, and Hogg makes a good point here. Says Giants are missing like half their team, saying to Ramon, because he's talking about pressing the hype button, taking 2 out of 3. And again, like I mentioned, Long goes out, like I mentioned earlier in the pregame show. Carlos Rodon's not going to be pitching. So, yeah, they do have guys that are out. So, yeah, I'd press the hype button more if they beat the Dodgers or the Braves in the series. That's when I would want to do it more. Getting through some of these comments before we end with some MLB news, some scores. Let's see. Dew says, would be nice going into these Dodger series up games. It seems like last season we were always going into the series down 2 or 3, and we couldn't afford a loss. Down 2 or 3 games in the standings, okay, but it's also early on in the season. Like it's not as much what the Padres do against the Dodgers. Obviously, you want to win those series. It's about doing what they did against the Diamondbacks, right? And taking advantage of not having to face Carlos Rodon in the series against the Giants. Winning those games that you should win. That's where you can stack up those wins. That's where you see those 107-win teams like the Giants. It's because they beat those lowly teams. The Padres weren't able to do that last year. Irie says, if Trent Grisham performs like last year, I think they should trade him by the deadline. I disagree with that. They have him under control. Myers is out after this season probably because he's a free agent. Okay, you bring Robert Hassel up maybe. And then down the line you have like James Wood or Joshua Mears. But then who else, right? I think they really want to have that Gold Glove center fielder. If they can deal Hosmer, then Abrams becomes a second baseman. You got Crony at first. Okay, then definitely Trent needs to be on the team. So I don't really disagree with that. I do disagree with them trading Trent at the deadline. He has so much control still left. Irie says, what's the deal with Aaron Judge? Is he going to become a Dodger? Effing Dodger? No, I don't think. I think my gut reaction is the Yankees and Judge will ultimately come to an agreement. I think they'll do something with how they did with Jeter and say, Jeter, we're not going to give you what you want, but if we can go find it on the open market, we'll match it, and then you'll come back to us. I think that's what they're going to do. I guess the rumors out there on opening day, they couldn't come to an agreement on an extension. The Yankees offered 8 years, I think, in total combined with this season, so really 7 years, and Judge wanted 8, so 9 combined, and they didn't want to do that. I mean, the Yankees offered him a good deal. Like, they gave him $30.5 million per year for a guy that has only had 2 seasons healthy in his career, and he's already, 30 years old? So I think they offered him a good deal. And will a team that's starved and they're willing to overpay and give him that extra year? Okay. I think another team will end up offering him that, and then the Yankees will offer him that, and he'll end up going back to the Yankees. That's my gut reaction on that. Let's see. Hog says, shocked Myers batting 6th tonight. Yeah, I am too. I mean, I mentioned in my lineup, when I went over the lineups, I thought that Myers probably should be 8th, move Profar up, move Hosmer up. You know, he just looks lost right now at the plate. But they keep playing him. One of my what to watch fors, did I even do that today? Okay, yeah, here it is. My what to watch for. How will the lineup do against a playoff contender? Not against Arizona anymore. You're facing better pitching. But going back to Will Myers, can Myers get hot at Oracle, right? He hit 321 last year at Oracle Park, home of the Giants, 4 doubles. So will he continue that? Maybe that's what they're banking on. He likes hitting at Oracle, the batter's eye or whatever. From what I know, he doesn't hit really well against Alex Wood in the past. So that's one of my what to watch for. And then Taylor versus Tyler Rogers. They're not going to be playing each other. Their teams will. But those two are twin brothers. And so they could appear in the same game. Taylor Rogers, obviously, for the Padres, and Tyler pitches sidearm for the Giants. Tyler, I believe, is going to be on the paternity list or leave list later in the series. So I think tonight might be the only chance where they get a chance to pitch in the same game. So those are my what to watch for. My Padre pick, one guy I think will get a hit today. Tonight I have Austin Nola. Last night I picked Haas, but that doesn't count since he didn't play. I do the same as the beat the streak rules. If they don't play, they don't have an at-bat, so it doesn't count. It's not like they went 0-4. So far I'm 2-1 so far on the season in my Padre pick every night, every pregame show. Tonight I have Austin Nola, the right against left matchup. Top of the lineup. I think that's just a solid pick. He's playing really well so far this season. So I like that pick. Let's see. Any more comments here before I get out of here with some MLB scores, MLB news? Let's see here. A lot of guys are talking about Trent Grisham. Here's Gil with Manaea. The Manaea trade brought a very interesting reliever. So everyone went with the big name, but this throw-in piece could end up being a major leaguer, judging by his early numbers. Okay. But also in the Padres farm system, they have Kevin Kopps, who seems like he's going to be an impact major leaguer, you know? Oh, you're talking about with the Manaea deal, the guy that they got, the Padres got. Okay, my bad. Yeah. I agree with that, yeah. I'm blanking on his name right now, but yeah, he throws 100. Yeah, I totally agree. And then you add him to Kopps, you add him to Ray Kerr, guys like that. Yeah, that's a pretty good young bullpen, I think, in the future. All right, let's finish this off here with some MLB news and notes. Miguel Cabrera is 10 hits away from 3,000 hits. Got the Blue Jays and the Yankees tonight. It's 2-0 Toronto in the third. Padres Giants, obviously, at 6:45 p.m. Pacific time, starting off their series tonight. Rockies are tied with the Rangers at 4 in the top of the 10th, so that's an extra inning battle. Red Sox down 3-1 to the Tigers. Oakland's up 8-0 to Tampa. The Mets up 3-0 to Philly in the bottom of the third in Philadelphia. That's a pretty good series. The Braves are up 1-0 on Washington at home in the second. Seattle and Minnesota still finishing off their series in the bottom of the first, just kicked off that game. Angels play the Marlins later tonight. Cleveland beat Kansas City 10-7. Baltimore won. They beat Milwaukee 2-0. Pittsburgh St. Louis got postponed. So that is tonight's pregame show for April 11th, 2022. Again, Padres Giants kick off their 3-game set tonight before the Padres head home for their series opener, their first homestand of the season against the Braves and the Reds. I'll have a quick post-game reaction video after the game. Stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for the next episode. After this series, I'll have Hog on probably on Wednesday. I believe that's when we're scheduled to talk. So stay tuned for that. I'm excited for that. And go Padres. I'll sign off here tonight. Let you go settle in, get ready for this game.